Hey everybody, welcome back to Backlog Banter. I'm your boy Abram, joined as usual by Tucker Hazel. And we're here today to surprisingly give our Nintendo Direct predictions for the Direct that's going to be happening just a few hours from when you're watching this video. So we're super excited. Short turnaround time here. Nintendo really came in under the wire for this September Direct. And before we even get to the regular plugs, if you want to know why maybe we're a little bit, hesitant about this direct in general, at least I am, you should check out our video we uploaded a couple days ago just about directs in general and about whether we even needed this showcase, which is, of course, a thread we'll follow up on in our discussion after the reaction we do. And if you want to see all of that content, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. The link, as usual, to subscribe right down there next to the bell and next to the like button. And most critically,
you ever think about technically that is a link? It's a button, but it's also a link.
It's a hyperlink.
Yeah,
it's a hyperlink.
Most critically, as you were saying,
Discord. Yes. The Discord. I was gonna say my Twitter link. That's also down there.
There's a bunch of things down there.
Yes,
a lot of
most
goodies.
Critically, Discord. Join the Discord. Talk to us about this Nintendo Direct or anything else at all. We'll of course do these plugs in the reaction clips we upload, which will get far more views than this. But we digress. We're just here to talk about Nintendo because we love it. So Tucker, what do you think, or what do you hope we're going to see tomorrow?
Now, I've not put a ton of thought into this. We just finished making a video about how, and you had pretty much convinced me there was not going to be a direct, and that we did not need a direct in the coming now.
I agree.
And we are now in the coming now, and there is a direct happening very, very imminently. And I think the one thing that is peculiar, but not really, because knowing Nintendo's track record, is in the tweet for the announcement of today's direct. It says that this is focused on Nintendo Switch games releasing in the winter of 2021. Now, that doesn't actually mean that much. They've subverted that sort of phrasing 6 ways to Sunday and basically every direct that you can think of. So it's not entirely excluding the possibility of new 2022 game announcements, 2022 game trailers, whether that's Zelda, Splatoon, whatever. But I do think that trailers for the still releasing games are pretty likely. I don't think anyone's going to deny that. And filling out the rest of the year in terms of big third-party games, of course, the last Smash character, and I mean, I honestly don't expect anything too crazy on the whole. I think 75% of it will be like, yep, we saw this coming. Solid information. Glad it's there. Glad I got to learn a little something new. But then maybe 1 or 2 stingers that make this important.
Yeah, I agree with you in large part. I think if we're to take a temperature check of the direct before it happens, I'm about there with you. So I think it's worth going through the kind of the more predictable stuff and then maybe throw a couple curveballs that are still in the realm of possibility once we get through it. So as you're saying, I think a Mario Party Superstars trailer is a lock. Whether that's an overview trailer, just a second trailer, I don't know, but I'm sure they're going to show off whatever the other 3 boards are, or 2 boards. I forget how many more they have to show. We'll get an Advance Wars trailer. I think there was a rumor floating around about a level editor in that game. So
which game? Advance Wars?
Yeah, in Advance Wars.
That's a perfect another trailer. Frame stops for a second, and you can make your own levels, sort of thing. Yeah, 100%.
For sure. And we'll have the horse shit anime rock blocks that will hit probably another SMT5 trailer. Other horse shit anime stuff I want to save for a second. But
in the horse shit anime games section of this video, you will learn about.
But I think that's that. I mean, maybe a stinger for Pokemon. I doubt we'd see another substantive trailer.
Yeah.
But
especially because they've been so separate as of late. Neither BDSP or Legends Arceus has gotten any official Nintendo Direct presence.
Yeah, I would say if anything, a little sizzler, a little summer sizzler. But I think in terms of first party stuff, that's pretty safe. I think that's pretty much that. The 2 big third party announcements I think are probably guaranteed are the Castlevania Advance Collection and the GTA Trilogy.
Yeah, and those are both big announcements. I'm actually very excited for both of them. I've never played any games from either of those collections, and Switch is the perfect place for me to want to get into them in any substantial way.
I have to say I don't really care about either of them, frankly.
Yeah, well, that just says a lot about you.
It says a lot about me, but like I'd rather be playing Symphony of the Night first before I went to the advanced ones, and honestly, I don't have a lot of interest in going back to GTA. But I think that's kind of the safe stuff, right? I think that's expected.
Yes.
Now, Tucker, I want to travel with you down a path of increasing improbability.
Okay. Am I allowed to come up with my own ideas?
I mean, I prefer if you didn't, but this is a discussion, so there must be give and take, regrettably.
The one thing that I would say is very reasonable and totally in the realm of possibility. So we're like one step above. Okay, these are leaked.
Yes.
Is DLC / update announcements for Super Rush and Animal Crossing. I
Yes.
think that the two of those need some more information. And September, perfect time to announce sort of a Thanksgiving update. We didn't get any
Yes.
summer update for New Horizons, fucking wild.
I was thinking
Whatever.
about that the other
But
day.
cooking, farming, very much Thanksgiving themed.
Yes.
Announce this now, have it released in a few weeks. That works out.
No, I agree with you entirely. I think this is Animal Crossing's moment to reinsert itself into the spotlight.
Yeah.
I also think there's probably some motive to want to have Animal Crossing be focal for holiday again when people
Sure.
are gonna be buying Switches once more
Yes.
in mass. So I think that makes sense. If you throw fucking Brewster in
They
there,
do it in other states too, not just Massachusetts.
that's why I keep you around for jokes like that, Mr. Tucker
For
Hazel.
banger one-liners. Hire me, Marvel. I'll write your quips.
But you throw in Brewster, you throw in those systems as you're talking about cooking, farming, those have both been data mined.
Yes.
I think you've got the substantial update that would bring me back into the game,
Yes.
at least
that
for
we've
a
been
little while.
waiting for well over a year now.
Yes.
Close to 2 years. Oh my god.
Yes. I think Super Rush is also fairly safe. I mean, there
Yeah.
has been one update for the game,
Mhm.
one singular update.
Did it added other things other than New York City, right?
It added New Donk City, Toadette, and a ranked mode
Okay, all right.
with like 47 asterisks on ranked mode.
Sure. Okay. Well, no, but that I think what would be ideal would be a update play, like a schedule for
Yes.
okay, we're gonna
A
have
roadmap, if you will.
a roadmap. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. That's why I keep you around for that big bald head of yours. There's a big bald brain in there too. But I do think that saying, hey, seasonal updates for this game, giving us hints at what it is, and then of course I would say an update, shadow dropping would be ideal.
Tucker,
and not out of the realm of possibility.
I think you are smoking freebase crack cocaine thinking that's going to happen. Here, my honest prediction about Super Rush is that maybe we'll get one other update, right?
Ever?
But yes, I mean, honestly, I genuinely think that they have no incentive to do it. The game has sold and everybody has forgotten about it.
Yeah.
When
Aces got a good amount of post-launch support.
Aces did get a lot of post-launch support, but they were vehement about making that game work. Yeah. And I wonder if they have data to suggest that maybe it wasn't even worth it. Like the player retention was not very good.
That's probably true.
And honest to God, swear on my future grave, Tucker Hazel, when you said updates for New Horizons and Super Rush, I had to think to myself, what the fuck is Super Rush for like 5 seconds?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think that game is probably dead.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Another map, 2 characters, maybe.
Yes, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
The move ascending I'd say about as improbable, so still fairly probable as the last Smash character.
Yeah.
The reason I put a question mark on that is I don't think it's out of the realm of reason that gets its own standalone presentation Game Awards.
I think Game Awards is actually pretty likely. I know we have been waiting for Smash.
Yeah.
I mean, since E3, so it's not like a huge long gap, but I do think it being the last character and having the first DLC character announced at the Game Awards, I think there might be some Jeff Keighleyisms in the background saying, hey, if we want something big, Nintendo's got, Breath of the Wild shows, whatever, but a final Smash character at the Game Awards could be the seller.
I just don't think Jeffrey deserves that.
No?
And it's nothing against Jeffrey, but I think that if this is the final Smash Ultimate character, you give Sakurai Presents to announce the character and showcase him.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sure, no. Its own presentation, maybe an announcement of that presentation in this presentation. That also does make sense. Though I think what I'm coming down on is I don't think we're seeing the character tomorrow. Whether that is saved for the Game Awards for some sort of big final event or its own Sakurai Presents, because Korn and Bayonetta got their own. Korn and Bayonetta got their own at the end of Smash 4. So I do think that's a reasonable prediction. Yeah.
I want to throw it out there that I think the final character is Master Chief.
I want to throw out there that I think it's Crash. Okay. And I think both of those are, God, those would both be so awesome. Oh my God. I want the perfect ending. End cap. Oh my
I want to
goodness.
throw it out there that I'd throw both those characters directly into a volcano for QB or
Flippy
Captain
Toad.
Rainbow or Slippy Toad or any of those, or Dixie Kong or something. But Tucker, we're gonna keep sliding up the scale a little bit.
Okay.
And that would be a good segue into Donkey Kong, but we're not there yet because I think next
Why? Because you
is
mentioned Dixie Kong.
yes.
Okay.
I think next is NSO update.
Yes.
So
Yes.
here's what's peculiar as my voice cracks as I try to explain what's going on here.
Peculiar. Scoob. Yoink, zoink, Scoob. The peculiar. N64 online, Scoob.
That's a fucking good impression.
Thank you.
There was a patent filing for a new controller.
Yes.
And this controller apparently bears likeness in some respect, whether it's in the language or the diagram, I'm frankly not sure,
Yeah.
to N64 paraphernalia. And there's also from the FCC somewhere in that documentation that this will be announced on or before the 24th.
Yeah, what I heard was that the patent or whatever, this Friday is when it's like going to be, that part of it is going to be officially unveiled. So Nintendo would want to get out in front of that, and they probably have that scheduled properly.
Yes.
So
I'm curious.
Yes.
Would you say it's Game Boy or N64? Because both have been perniciously rumored.
They have been very pernicious. I honestly don't really know what that word means, but that's okay. That's for another. That's learning for another day.
Yes.
But so I have not been personally, my own eyes, privy to this leaked information about this controller. I've heard it from you. I've heard it from a couple other sources, but I haven't seen it, and I don't know. As you're saying, we don't know exactly what that wording or visual is to suggest that it's N64.
Right.
But people seem very certain about that.
Yeah.
And I do think that maybe the Game Boy Advance was just a weird fart in the wind that people thought was going to happen. But if we're on basically the exact 2-year time clock of adding the next generation of consoles, N64 makes a lot of sense. You announce that controller tomorrow. Yeah, I do think it's N64. I think Game Boy was just sort of a weird side leak or something. I don't know.
I want it to be N64. I think that's far more tantalizing.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yes.
I struggle
you don't want to play
with
Donkey Kong Land 2?
I mean, don't threaten me with a good time, but I would much rather be playing Donkey Kong 64 if I had to be playing one of those.
I really want to try that game, yeah.
Though
that is developed by Rare.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
now the real question
very
is,
amicable.
Yeah,
would
the real question is
don't
fucking test me. But the real question is, if it is N64 tomorrow, do we get Rare games as part of that initial launch lineup? They did make 30-40% of the classic N64 games, so not having them wouldn't be a huge loss, considering we'd have Nintendo's very own first party catalog to go off of, but that would sweeten the deal all the much more.
I think that the odds of that happening are as likely as the odds of it not happening. I can really see it going either way, given how friendly Microsoft has been.
Yes.
But at the same time, that just might be such a fucking licensing headache for everybody involved that it just might not be feasible. But the thing is, the controller patent is peculiar to me because I don't understand how you translate the N64 controller to a Joy-Con. And so is it just in color scheme? Is it in like aesthetics effectively? Because ultimately I think that the lower effort, so frankly more likely thing is Game Boy, but I want it to be N64.
Yeah, I'm trying to you see me gesturing. I'm trying to map out the N64 controller in my head. It's like, okay, if that was split into two Joy-Con, one side you have a D-pad, the R button and the Z button, I guess, and the other one has a joystick and the face button. No, wait, there's
so usually I don't have. I'm at school.
Directional buttons, face buttons.
See, hold on.
One side, joystick and what the fuck? And
just listen. On the other side? Just take a moment. I don't have. I'm at college, so I don't have my N64 controllers with me. On the left hand side, you only have the D-pad and L.
Yes.
The middle prong is the stick and Z on the back and start above it. And then on the right hand side, you have R, you have two face buttons, you have A and B, and then four C buttons.
Okay. Oh, the C buttons. That's what I kept mixing up because it's just another D-pad essentially. But they can They can
So,
do that. It's
well,
not a huge problem.
but the thing about it is that that's not typically what these have been used for. Has been here's a full NES controller and
Yes.
a second full NES
Oh,
controller.
that's true. They're not Joy-Con.
They're
My
not
bad.
Joy-Con. So
Oh,
that's why I I find it laughable to imagine they would release N60 like full on N64 controllers that slot on like perpendicular to the Switch.
yeah. No, I just remember them being able
Yeah,
to go onto the Switch.
right.
Man, I really fucked up my own head in that one.
But so honestly, I think it's a toss up. I frankly I do think Game Boy is more likely, but I would prefer it than 64.
I think if the controllers, which it does seem from other people's analysis that it is N64 related,
Yeah.
this is a USB controller, or it's entirely wireless, which is equally likely. But
Yeah.
considering the N64 classics and stuff, they've got wires that they can
Yes.
use on the controller. But yeah, no, I see it just being a maybe slightly smaller form factor N64 controller, maybe cleaned up a little bit in terms of
I would like that.
ergonomics.
Better stick.
Yeah.
Would be,
Oh,
I mean,
yes. Please, for the love of God.
yeah.
I only have like 2 N64 controllers, and
Yeah.
you pick that up, and the fucking stick's going. Oh, it's like a limp penis on that fucking.
Yes. I generally don't think the N64 controller is that bad for the games designed specifically for it.
Sure.
I think the bigger problem is just that controller needs a better stick
Yes.
and squishier buttons. I think that the actual
Sure.
form factor is not the issue as much as the actual construction. But now, Tucker, I think we're getting into some games here.
No.
So I'm taking these in what I feel is the correct order, but you might disagree. I think next most likely is a Bayonetta 3 trailer.
Yeah. No, that seems reasonable. But we've also
Uh,
been saying that for 3 years now. So
Yes.
who knows?
I mean, constantly it's Kamiya saying it's up to Nintendo and the game's being showed off, yada yada yada. What
Does that make sense?
I don't really know if it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think that I think it's time to show the trailer. I don't imagine it's going to be a dated trailer. I wouldn't even be surprised if it's just a fuller cinematic trailer.
Yeah.
But I think we will see some Bayo tomorrow.
Sure.
The next thing, Tucker, is Xenoblade. And I think that there's a hefty possibility that Xenoblade 3 either opens or closes the show.
Yeah, I mean they've shown they've been willing to end and open on Xenoblade many a time, sometimes
Many a time.
For too many times. But yeah, no,
times.
that's pretty that's that yeah. Don't even don't get me started on that one. But yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. And the great part about that is Xenoblade games can be essentially anything. Open world RPG anime-ish. Like there can be any kind of art style, there can be any kind of characters, there can be any kind of world design. So seeing this for the first time is going to be, whenever it is, if it's tomorrow or not, is going to be a huge breath of fresh air. It's going to be Xenoblade's weird. Each time it's essentially a new IP. Like they're so disconnected, though they are technically connected, whatever. But when we see that game, it's gonna be a lot of fun to sort of break that down.
What kind of what do you feel in your lower abdomen when I say Xenoblade Chronicles Export?
Sure, yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, I have the game, but I never got into it because I don't really care to play on my Wii U for 40 hours. But yeah, I would buy the crap out of that. Though I don't know if it's likely at this point. I think maybe Xenoblade 3 comes first and X is like the last Wii U port we get. Like as the Switch is running down, they're like, let's just put it one more out there.
There was some reporting to the effect of the pandemic pushing the timeline for Xenoblade 3 out, and there being optimization issues and all kinds of things.
Sure.
So imagine if we were to exist in a realm where Xenoblade doesn't launch until like holiday next year, I don't think it's unlikely to see like an early spring port of X or something.
You think that they would do 2 in the same year though?
I think that to the people who Xenoblade matters to, it doesn't make a difference.
Sure, that's a good point. And we would both buy the export and play at least some of it.
Yeah, X is my favorite in the series. I was most attracted to X's world. I think it, for my tastes, it's the most interesting Xenoblade's ever been.
Yeah.
Now, Tucker, I want to make a quick intercession because I think what's more likely than half of the shit we've been talking about is trailers for Splatoon.
Yeah, sure.
And I think a Splatoon trailer with a date of spring is likely,
or a window.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yes. I do think that getting that started early. We were talking in our other video about how Nintendo has been more working in the short term recently.
Yeah.
But Splatoon and the way that they like to roll out those games information works best to have it started as early as possible, get as many small trailers,
Yeah.
Splatoon directs, little teases, little Squid Research Lab things as much as they can. So sure, yeah, get that started tomorrow and get the hype cycle rolling early.
I think the other one that's just as likely is a Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope dated trailer.
Sure, yeah.
Throw that in early next year. Now, Tucker, let's continue the ascension towards godhood and towards improbability.
Okay.
Donkey Kong.
Yes.
I think that the Donkey Kong game is real, but I don't think it's going to get announced tomorrow.
No, yeah, I'm in about the same place. When I consider the two rumored games that are supposed to be coming, Xenoblade 3 and the new Donkey Kong,
Yeah.
I foresee Xenoblade being announced first, whether it's released first or not, because Monolith Soft likes to have that padding to give themselves extra time to work on it if they need to push back the release or whatever. I think they're fine with having a longer release cycle than a very in-house Nintendo thing being a Donkey Kong game. So if that's not announced tomorrow, it's our March Direct and it's released late summer, something like that.
Personally, I think the most likely fate for Donkey Kong is because the rumor has it's being developed. Yeah, Donkey Kong's gonna die by syphilis next year. That's my prediction. But the rumor is that it's being developed by Nintendo EPD, which is the Odyssey team. So if that's a big deal, and I think that you announce that maybe around March and you release it in holiday. I really think that Donkey Kong can carry a holiday, and I think we're going to learn that next year. The next game that I think sometimes is more or less improbable than Donkey Kong is Kirby.
Yes. Oh my God.
And I do think that we could see Kirby tomorrow.
Sure.
I am skeptical of the scuttlebutt that it is a 3D platformer.
Don't do it. Don't give me hope. Do the full on Hawkeye end game.
Yes.
Don't give me hope.
I would expose my midriff if we saw a 3D Kirby platformer tomorrow.
I'll do that with you. Okay. If that happens, we will both stand up and expose our middle areas. Yeah.
Yes. If we get a Kirby 3D platformer, and if we get a Kirby 2D platformer, I'll pull down my shirt and show a bit of cleavage.
I'll do like a thumbs up maybe if it's more interesting than Star Allies.
Yes.
Star Allies sucks.
Star Allies doesn't suck, but Star Allies is not inspired, is what I'll say on the matter. So Kirby, you fucking see about it.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I've never been in the hype cycle for a Kirby game before.
I'm not sure anybody's ever been in the hype cycle for a Kirby game.
Dude.
I do love Kirby, so I'd be very excited.
Yeah.
The next one, a Breath of the Wild 2 trailer with either a name or a release date. What do you feel about that?
That has been pondering me. No.
Yeah.
Other way around. I've been pondering it actually.
Right.
And in Mother Russia, Breath of the Wild 2 trailers ponder you, but we're not here. We're not there.
Right.
So I've been thinking a lot about that. I've been talking to a few people about what I think the likelihood is and how I feel is another small trailer that is underwhelming in terms of what we're seeing out of its scope and like the story and what all the new stuff is. But it's short, it teases, and it gives us the name and a window. I think that's what we get.
Single pane, double pane.
Window joke. Stick around Backlog Banter for more window joke content.
I don't think we see Breath of the Wild 2 tomorrow.
No.
I don't think it's very likely, frankly. I think that you maybe. I think there's two eventualities. If it's a first half of the year game, you show it in January, you blow it out and you release it.
Okay.
If it's coming later, you show it in March, or it's the big E3 game, you blow it out and release it. Because like you think, oh, there's still a lot we have to find out. We have to find out a name, we have to find out a date, right? But ultimately, you think about Super Mario Odyssey. Super Mario Odyssey announced in January to very little detail, blown out in June for an October release. Sure. I think depending on which half of the year it falls in, it'll be announced either at the beginning or the middle of next year.
Sure. I think the only thing I sort of hesitate on because that makes sense. It doesn't. Like, we already know about the game. We've already seen the game gameplay wise.
Yeah.
The lack of name is the one thing that's really mysterious about it. And having them be able to say, like, put out their infographic after the direct and say, look what we announced, and have the logo of the Zelda game on there. Like, this is the big tentpole. It really is the big tentpole title for their next calendar release year. I feel in my gut that they want to have that name out there. Though
Well,
whatever the fuck it means that it's a spoiler, that's so stupid.
yes.
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Right. It doesn't make sense to call it what that conveys to me is that they needed more time and they needed to faint.
Sure.
And B, I think what it means is that when we get the name, we get the whole enchilada. We get the date,
Okay.
we get the gameplay details, we get
I
the
see what
story
you're saying.
details,
I
we
see
get
what
the
you're
name.
saying.
And I think that sets you up for a not imminent, but a fairly imminent release. Staying on the Zelda train for a second, Twilight
Shoot,
Princess HD,
motherfucker.
not Spirit Tracks, fuck you. Twilight Princess HD, Wind Waker HD, combo pack, 2 individual packs, port releases.
No.
I say no also. I
Yeah.
say, because here's the thing.
God, it would make me happy, but no.
I think that's a 2023 deal.
Sure.
Because Nintendo wants a Zelda game a year. That's kind
Mhm.
of, I think it's spoken, but it's clearly unspoken.
Yes.
You get Breath of the Wild 2 sequel next year. You put that either
Breath of the Wild
both.
2 sequel. Whoa, we're jumping ship, boys. Fuck Breath of the Wild 2. We're going straight Breath of the Wild 3.
But I think
that's why it's a spoiler. They don't want us to know they're not making the second game. They're actually making the third one.
But no, I think those make most sense for the following year. And that gives a little buffer for the Grezzo to finish up another remake or finally fucking let Grezzo make their own Zelda game. God damn it. So I see that, but it's been a little scuttlebutt to that effect. Now Tucker, now we're getting into the big boy, big fields type of
hot
home run,
enchiladas.
heavy hitters. Okay. And then we're gonna open up the floor to comments, questions, and concerns, and just random horse shit we want to see happen. Yes.
Yeah.
Say it with me, Tucker.
Star Fox.
Mario Kart 9.
Okay. I thought you. Oh, Star Fox is more of your bullshit. Yes. Talking about later on, but
yes. So here's the rub, Tucker. I think Mario Kart 9 obviously exists.
Okay.
Yes. The question is it a Switch game?
Mm-hmm.
Is it not a Switch game? Is it a Mario Kart game? Is it a Nintendo Kart game?
Yeah, there are questions. Though those are pretty baseline questions.
I think the answers to these questions are that it's a Switch game and it's a 2022 game. I've constantly kind of shifted my thinking on this based under the assumption that I think this is a Switch game and I think it is going to come sooner rather than later. Mm-hmm. But at this point, sooner rather than later, I think it means 2022.
Yeah, man, that's really interesting. I mean, I've never been in the real information cycle for a new Mario Kart game ever in my life. I mean, I followed 8 Deluxe when that was coming out and got it when it did come out, but I don't know what it's like in terms of their trailers or information rollouts and stuff like that. That would be insane.
Yeah.
Is making that the fifth quote unquote tentpole title of 2022.
Yeah.
Good God. We get an open world Pokemon, Splatoon 3, Breath of the Wild 2, and a new Mario Kart in 1 year. That would be impressive. That would be next level stuff.
I think the thing about it is that whatever the next Mario Kart game is going to make all of those other games look like fucking horse shit sales wise.
Yes.
Pokemon will be the only one that touches it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is so astronomically far and ahead of everything other than Animal Crossing that it's just absurd. So I really want to say I'm just gonna put my balls on the table and say that it's gonna be announced tomorrow just because I want it to happen.
That would be I appreciate the exuberance.
Yes. So Tucker, I think that in my opinion, a new Mario Kart is the last game in the realm of on the scale of probable to improbable. I think that's about as improbable as I can realistically go.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to fucking limit break that and go above it and beyond it for a second.
Yes.
Just fucking divorce your mind of reason for a moment.
That happened long ago.
Right.
As soon as you open your mouth, logic, boink, right out one ear.
What do you want to see?
I think what we are missing from that list, which very comprehensive list. Thank you very much for structuring the video. As I mentioned before I started recording, I hadn't thought about this. Like I'm like, oh yeah, we're recording a predictions video, but I didn't actually think about it. God, that's fine. Imagine that. But it's the X factor. It's the weird Nintendo new new IP, mid-tier IP, small tier
Yes.
IP, like a Box Boy or Sushi Striker, like we were talking about last week. Star Fox is the and F-Zero are the fucking M factor. They're out there in the wilderness, foraging for food, scrounging for food. Dolphins, but I do think that rather than all those games that we mentioned, I think one of them for the new games and the things about trailers and updates and all that is pretty reasonable. But I think one of those new game announcements and then the Nintendo X factor of some sort of smaller game, some sort of port we weren't expecting, some sort of very strange thing that comes entirely out of the woodwork is what's most likely.
Yeah, so Arlo calls Nintendo the kings of left field, I believe. This phenomenon we're discussing. We're big Arlo acolytes, if you will. The current president of Nintendo has gone on the record saying we're interested in investing in new IP. So I don't think
that hasn't really shown itself yet.
Fucking stupid, Abram. This is why I should have played, because I was really operating off the top of my head. The one big one that is kind of in the wind, Fire Emblem.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah. I see that sort of in the same same tier as Kirby is. They're working on that game. It does need to be released at some point, and seeing it, whether that's close to release or farther away, doesn't really make a difference. And just getting out that information to have the game in the ether is probably what they care about most.
I'm trying to think this again off the top of my head. I believe that save for everything post Awakening pre Three Houses, I think was the first half of the year release, to the best of my knowledge.
I couldn't tell you.
And so I think that that's fairly likely, and obviously there's more Xenoblade in the works. Yes, but there's more Fire Emblem in the works. Post Three Houses. But so yes, I think that's possible. But back to what I was saying, I think the idea of new IP is it's always in the cards.
Yes,
it's as equally in the cards as it is out of the cards.
Yeah. What I really want is Nintendo, whether this is a D tier IP like a Box Boy or Sushi Striker, like we were talking about, download only $20
I would
title.
Love more of that.
Yes,
yeah,
whether it's that or a new actual attempt for IP, whether it doesn't work out like an ARMS did or something.
Yeah,
I think that's more interesting than what we've seen from Nintendo's for the majority new IPs of the Switch generation, which is applying Nintendo IPs to really weird out there shit. Is your 1-2 switches, is your Ring Fits, is your Labo, things like that. I want there to be a new video game IP from Nintendo.
No, I agree, and I think that it's just a matter of time on that front. Obviously, frankly, I'd be more interested in a new IP from Nintendo than another sequel to an established franchise.
Yeah, of course.
I'd be more interested in new IP than any of the games we've talked about previously in this video already. But obviously it's hard to speculate about what that would be in the absence of any leaks or rumors.
When they do Triangle Boy, the spin-off of Box Boy, do you count that as a new IP, and do you say that is more exciting than all the things we had mentioned previously?
Don't put me in these kinds of moral
Project
quandaries.
Triangle Strategy has changed direction. It is actually a Box Boy spin-off the entire time.
We might see that game, by the way.
That's pretty likely.
My only question there is the final name Triangle Strategy, or does this one actually get a different name? They
need to change this one. Octopath is fucking weird, but it's like mystically weird. Like it's like, oh, that comes from a fucking fantasy world. Triangle is just a normal human actual word.
But so Tucker, there's 3 games I want to float to you.
Okay.
There's really more than that, but ultimately there's 3 I really care about. Pikmin 4.
That was sitting at the top of my brainicle when we were talking about Nintendo's IPs.
So the word on the street, and of course this is just fucking gobbledygook I read on Twitter or hear from writers I know in passing, right? Who you probably don't have any better sources than I do, which is to say I have no sources.
Yes.
Pikmin 4, and I think just anybody with eyes could recognize this, that it restarted development at some point.
Sure. Okay. Yes.
And so I would love to see it. I think that the game is obviously going to release. They are too far in to scrap it. I think.
Sure,
it's a deal there. So whether
and with the boosts of Pikmin 3 Deluxe and the mobile game.
You fucker! I forgot about that.
The mobile game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
That's fucking weird. That was a long time ago they announced that.
Niantic reiterated that's coming out this year.
Oh, we still got 4 months left in the year. So I mean, that could be an October release.
Tucker, what if they're like, hey, here's Pikmin 4, and while you're waiting for Pikmin 4, play this game, it's gonna like you can like transfer shit or whatever.
Listen to me, hear me out. Direct
Put it on my
ended.
dear ears.
Direct ended much like what was that? End of 2018's Direct, in which we got Isabelle and Smash and the tease of Animal Crossing coming to Switch. I think we see for some reason like they want to announce the Pikmin mobile game somewhere more officially, show that here, and then a logo. Pikmin 4 is coming to Switch. No window, nothing. Just like, hey, it exists. We're confirming it here. I think that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love that. I think Pikmin's a really special series, and I would really love to see that come to fruition.
Yes.
Next, F-Zero. Frankly, I think we have said everything we could possibly say about F-Zero in a video we posted recently.
Yeah.
So
I'm writing down what cards are in the corner so I don't forget.
F-Zero I think all it is the direct video in F-Zero.
Yes. Now, yeah.
I think it's too late for an F-Zero to be announced for this year still, but I think I think it is not impossible for F-Zero next year. So I'd say it's not. Pikmin 4 and F-Zero, I think, are not impossible.
They're not impossible, but we're still in the realm of past reasonableness.
I was also talking to some of the Ninty Fresh writers today about a skip collection of Chibi Robo and Gift Pia and Captain Rainbow. So I know impossible when I see it.
Yeah.
Won't stop me from talking about it, but I know it when I see it. Which is why, Tucker, when I say Star Fox is probably impossible,
that really means something.
So Platinum, I don't understand who the fuck lets Kamiya and people at Platinum say the stuff that they do just when they say it. But they're like, we'd love to port Star Fox Zero from Nintendo.
Oh, that's right. That happened.
I think that's such an asinine thing to say because that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Star Fox Zero, I think is one of the. I think that if before we even started porting any Wii U games, if you asked me, Abram, what games need Switch ports, I'd say Star Fox is one of them.
Yeah.
Because I think Star Fox Zero, if you ripped out the controls, gave it standard controls, you still wouldn't have a game that's any less than hitting the bar of good, like the bottom of the bar for good. But I think it would be not a terrible way to get Star Fox a little bit of momentum in because it has zero momentum.
Yes,
it actually sells terribly, which is disappointing. I'd love to see Bandai Namco get another crack at it. I think Assault's a pretty good game.
Sure.
But that's impossible. Now, Tucker, there's two final games I want to mention.
Okay.
And these are more in your wheelhouse than mine, which is why I really want you to end with them. I want your thoughts on ARMS 2. I want your thoughts on Odyssey 2.
Yeah, you classically not a 3D Mario fan. I know
I
that
fucking hate
really
3D Mario.
That's my wheelhouse. You hate all those fucking games, whatever. I don't think we're seeing either of them, and I honestly don't think either of them are even possible for next year. Next year is so loaded already, and I think Mario Kart 9 is more likely than a new 3D Mario for next year, even though I don't think Mario Kart 9 is very likely for next year, to be honest. And ARMS 2 it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think our friend Franz in the Discord, during the Discord, said something about Yabuki. The kind of scuttlebutt is Yabuki went back to Mario Kart after ARMS, which I think is fucking to the benefit of everybody. However, we've also made a video. Put a card if you want, whatever. Yeah. We did an ARMS 2 video where you believe in it more, but I really ARMS could have a redemption arc with me, and I think that redemption arc begins with a sequel.
Yes.
But
yes. It releases with Dark Horse actually releasing the fucking graphic novel that was canceled, and that pisses me off. Do you have any idea how many copies of that I would own if it released? Holy
probably
shit.
One.
Yeah, that's a pretty good guess.
And why have an Odyssey 2 when you're gonna have a 3D Donkey Kong platform and a 3D Kirby platformer next year? You know what I'm saying?
The Donkey Kong game's not a 3D platformer, is it?
Well, if you remember, the rumor is that it's either 2D or 3D.
Great rumor. No, but I thought it came down on the fact that it was more 2D than 3D.
I think it was like a Splatoon match. You like the ratio of who's saying what to who's saying what.
Oh, and sure, I see what you're saying.
And the 2D was winning against the 3D.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
God, imagine that. Oh my god. But hey, 3D Donkey Kong actually more exciting, more interesting, more innovative than a 2D one. takes that
I-
slot of a 3D Mario. Don't even
just
get
start
me
crying.
started with 3D Donkey Kong. Oh my god.
But Tucker, the only thing I want to say is Kid Icarus. I just
So
want to say it.
really what we're doing here is going through all of Nintendo's franchises and guessing their likelihood for
Yes.
tomorrow.
Yeah, but speaking of that, Tucker, actually, the actually last thing I want to do is just I just want 1 to 10. How hyped are you for tomorrow? Where are your expectations? Where's your mind? Where's your sexual chakra?
My sexual chakra is in Okoboji, Wisconsin. I haven't found it yet. I gotta go on a road trip and grab it. But I'm at like a 7 for my hype. I think there's gonna be some interesting stuff tomorrow. The 1 or 2 games hopefully being announced are what I'm really looking forward to. And information for what's coming for Smash, whether that is the character or the announcement of something.
Yeah.
But I'm glad this is happening, even if just to prove you wrong. But also because it'll be nice to get a little bit more on information on games that we've only seen one trailer for, and sort of close out the year and fill out a little bit of what is coming in the first part of the next year. So, I'm not over the moon, and I don't think there's any reason to be over the moon excited for this, but I think that's good. I like the idea of me feeling comfortable with Nintendo's communication, and this is the start of me easing back into that groove, not super overhyping myself each time, feeling like, there's stuff that they can say. There's a couple games they can announce, and I'm going to be very happy that I watched it.
Yeah. So for me, here there's 2 parts of my mind right now. There is the rational part, which is my actual opinion that we didn't need a direct, and I think what's most likely is updates, as you're saying, and if the direct is updates, some third-party announcements, and one first-party or second-party announcement that is not Xenoblade, I'll be very happy. If it is Xenoblade, I'll say it's a good direct, but I just I'll do what I always do with Xenoblade games. I'll buy it, I'll play it for 5 hours, and remember why I don't like Xenoblade. But the other part of my brain is on its way to Party City to buy my clown makeup, because my hype is at like a 9 or a 10.
That's interesting.
Just because I'm a person that almost always exists with 2 minds on anything I do, basically. And those are always in contest when it comes to this direct. I know that we didn't need this. I know that it doesn't make sense to expect a lot, and I'm not expecting a lot. But every time Nintendo's gonna do something, I'm like, it's my fucking moment. This is my moment to shine.
I don't mean to poke and prod you even more and possibly increase the excitement, but do you remember when E3 2021 happened and we thought it was one of the best directs in modern history? And it was, but it was exactly what you were wanting and not what the general population was wanting, which is like the announcements of 4 B-tier Nintendo franchises. That communication could continue. And imagine that sort of momentum capped over by the fact that we already know that Zelda, Splatoon, and Pokemon are coming next year. It does put Nintendo in a position where you have your tent poles, as you were saying, and now you can fill in with things that are, other than Splatoon and Legends Arceus, far more interesting to me. Honestly. Donkey Kong, Kirby, Star Fox, F-Zero, Chibi Robo, Kururin. Don't do it. Don't you dare.
I'll get completely naked on camera if there's a Kururin reboot tomorrow.
I'll do the same.
All right.
New Kururin video. BLB is deleted because we're knocked off the website.
But Tucker, I think it's been a wonderful discussion.
It has. Sure. I've had a great time. There was little structure other than let's mention all of Nintendo's IP and see what fucking happens in our brains. But hey, on the off chance, we mentioned them all to cover all our bases. So on the off chance any of them are mentioned tomorrow, we can say, look what we said.
We're gonna get on a score basis. If we were to score ourselves, the law of large numbers says that we're gonna do pretty well.
Let's try to get. Okay, how many things do we think we mentioned? We probably mentioned 15 things.
At least, yes.
Let's try to get 4 points.
Try to get 4 points?
Yes.
Well, see, here's the thing. Here's what I think we should do instead.
Okay.
I think that whenever a first or second party thing happens, we get a strike if it's not something we mentioned today.
Now I like that idea, but I did say the X Factor is one of my predictions. So
that's why we're not going to get any strikes.
I like the way you're thinking. It's
Mario
all
Super
uphill from
Sluggers.
here.
I'll just put it out there. What else do we have to shout
Soakers?
out? Wave Race.
Super Soakers? Mario Super Soakers?
I think we should end the video.
Okay.
If we get Odyssey 2 tomorrow, I'll show my asshole to the camera.
In a good way or a bad way?
Well, it's up for the viewer to decide.